Okay. There has been a lot of attacks from you and Peter Dutton and the opposition today that the budget is too inflationary. I've also interviewed economists who agree with you as well tonight on the show. But at the same time, you've been arguing for more support for Middle Australia. You can't have it both ways, can you, Mr Taylor? You can't be asking the government to give more support, more money for the average family at the same time as demanding there's less spending to stop inflation from growing.
Well, that's verballing our position again, Sharri. So let me be very clear on what our position is. The best way to support Middle Australia and all Australians is to take pressure off inflation, not handouts. Australians prefer not to have handouts. They prefer to be in a position where they can get ahead under their own steam.
So it sounds like you will be disagreeing. I know you said you'll go through each individual measure, but it sounds like you will be disagreeing with the changing the single parenting payment so that the youngest child's 14 and the increase to job seeker. It sounds like you're saying the best way to help these people is just not to spend the money.
You know, I've already answered that question. We'll work through each one of those initiatives in an appropriate way. What I am saying, though, is the starting point here should be fight inflation first. Fight Labor's inflation, the Canberra inflation. That's not coming from the Kremlin anymore. This is not Vladimir Putin's inflation. This is Anthony Albanese's inflation. And you fight it with a budget that is sensible, that is prudent, that makes ends meet, not over just 1 year, but right across the four. No, well, hang on. You asked the question, I'll answer it. And that is how you make sure that everyone is better off, right across. Now, that's not what this budget was. This budget is inflationary, $185 billion of extra spending in it, and $2 of extra spending for every extra dollar of revenue.
That was saved.
That will be inflationary. That will be inflationary, and that will hurt many Australians. And that is what that's what we're opposing here. We want to see a low inflation environment where all Australians are better off.
There has been some spending restraint, though, in the budget. 82% of the revenue boost has been banked. The Treasurer says that under the coalition, only 40% was banked. You've accused the Prime Minister of playing politics, but doesn't this show responsible spending?
Well, that makes no sense. I mean, those numbers aren't even right. They're spending an extra $185 billion over the years of the budget.
Well, the Treasurer has said that 82% of the new revenue that's come through has been banked, and that's how he was able to produce a surplus.
I'm not going to get technical about how he makes up those numbers, but the truth of the matter is he's spending $185 billion, and for every $1 of extra revenue, he's spending $2. Now,
but you don't give him credit for the surplus.
Well, hang on. There's two different questions here. One is about the Treasurer's crazy numbers. They make no sense. He's adding $185 billion of spending. That's inflationary, and you'll hear many economists say it's inflationary, including Chris Richardson, who was
I just had him on the show saying that exact thing. Yeah. Look, I want to ask you about there's $2 billion for hydrogen in the budget. Should the government be subsidising the private sector in this way? Is this not a case of, the government saying it's helping the most vulnerable in the community, but then giving a billionaire like Twiggy Forrest, who's been arguing for hydrogen subsidies, $2 billion if he gets that, wins that bid?
Yeah, it's a good question, Sharri, and I don't know enough about what's proposed here. It's very vague. There's very little in the budget to understand about this. I mean, we all want to see sensible technologies being deployed in the economy, but if it's all about a big handout from government, then that's not the right way forward. So there's a lot of questions to answer on this one. I certainly don't have the answers to those questions, but we will be asking them.